Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite the show, as we have a lot to get to in the world of Southern California sports, such as UCLA and USC women's team advancing to the Sweet 16. But USC did lose someone along the way, and it's a big loss for the women of Troy. Also, there's no more NCAA men's basketball teams from Southern California in the NCAA tournament, but there is a team still alive in postseason play. Who is this team, and who has been kicking butt and taking names in said postseason tournament? And the Lakers wound up winning in the best way possible on Wednesday, but wound up losing in the worst way possible yesterday. Can the Lakers get their you-know-what together before the postseason begins? And the Clippers have been looking pretty good, even though they just recently lost to the Thunder a few days ago. But they bounced back very nicely. Can the Clippers be a threat to the postseason? Also, the Galaxy still are yet without a win in the MLS. But LAFC won, but unfortunately for San Diego FC, they lost their first ever game, which is unfortunate. And the Dodgers and Padres kicked off the MLB season with a nice win on opening day. I can't say the same for the Angels, as they wound up losing to the dreaded White Sox. Is it going to be that long of a season for the Angels? And also, the Kings are back in second in the Pacific Division, while the Ducks are still trying to gain ground. All that and more here on the SoCal Sports Show. This is Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Sports Show here on iSports Radio, your best feed for all that is sports. And welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday morning, Friday wherever you were listening from. Either way, you've made your way to episode 222 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Without any further delay, let's begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show would not be where it's at without IE Sports Radio providing the platform to go live on StreamYard. Please do follow me, or please do follow IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate that. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of April, and with your help, we could definitely make it happen. We're around the 370 area mark, which is pretty good, but we really can help step it up with your help. Also, make sure to check us out on other podcast platforms such as Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, CastBox, Deezer, Spotify, iHeartRadio, the list goes on and on. And also make sure to check us out on our website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news, our blog, our pages dedicated to each podcast, such as the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, our merchandise shop, where we've got t-shirts, tank tops, and hoodies, and so much more. Also make sure to check out our Hall of Fame, where yours truly is in the Hall of Fame, inductee number 10, might I add. Also make sure to check out our Fans of the Month, and so much more. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, which I will most likely do later on tonight, and other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. A huge shout out to our sponsors, Planet Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Vital Apparel, and Raw Nutrition Supplements. So without any further delay, let's get into what our sponsors are all about.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out all of our amazing sponsors, as well as check out our website. Also, make sure to check out our most recent sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Go to getrawnutrition.com and use the promo code IESR, all in caps, for 10% off your next order. And the way you can follow the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on social media is on X, formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. And you can follow me, the host, personally, at Teran Rodriguez 1. So without any further delay, let's get into the SoCal sports action. So we have quite a bit to discuss in terms of the SoCal sports action. As let's also, before we do that, we gotta put up the supporters club link. It's also in the description of this show for those that do want to be a member of the supporters club. I would greatly appreciate that. It's only $5 a month. And if you do become a member, well, first of all, thank you very much. And second of all, you'll get a shout out from me on this show, every show. And you'll even get a chance to be a guest on the show. And if you're a member of the Supporters Club for 4 months, I will ship you off an iSports Radio t-shirt or tank top of your choice. And if you become a member of the Supporters Club longer than that, then honestly, I will make it even more worth your while. So definitely, if you want to be a supporter of the Supporters Club, that would be awesome. Or just share the show. If anything, share this show. It would mean so much. And remember, the Supporters Club link is right here, and it's also in the description. So without any further delay, let's get on into the SoCal sports action. So let's actually start off with some college basketball. So we'll start off with the men's side of things. So UCLA unfortunately saw its season come to an end as they fell to Tennessee in the round of 32. So with UC San Diego out and San Diego State also out, the Bruins were the last team in the big dance that was basically fighting to represent SoCal. And unfortunately, they got such a tough draw. They got Tennessee in the round of 32, and this was kind of where the buck would stop for UCLA. They fought hard in that first half, but then Tennessee really turned the gears in the second half, and UCLA just had no answer. They were down by as many as 20. They tried to battle back, but it was just to no avail as the Bruins lost to Tennessee, seeing their season come to an end. So now the big question is for UCLA, what will we see of Mick Cronin? I mean, Mick Cronin has kind of been linked to like other places. Like he's been linked to other teams such as it was Villanova. Like there were rumors saying that Mick Cronin could be linked to going to Villanova and he could be stepping down from UCLA, which, I mean, honestly, I will just say, if this really, like I said on X, formerly known as Twitter, via the SoCal Supreme Sports Show X account, if it really is the end for Mick Cronin, then I really do wish him nothing but the best. And I thank him for everything that he did when it came to this program. And the final score of the Tennessee UCLA match or UCLA game was 67-58, but don't let that final score fool you. It was way more of a blowout than it needed to be, as again, Tennessee was up by as many as 20 plus in this game. Meanwhile, for UCLA, Sky Clark led the way for the Bruins with 18 points, as he was a perfect 4-for-4 from the charity stripe. Unfortunately, like I said, it was just to no avail as Tennessee was just too much for UCLA. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just run into the better team, and sometimes you just have the worst night ever, which it's totally understandable. So it's not for a lack of trying when it came to UCLA losing, but it was just so much more that Tennessee was the much better team, and they deserved to win. So that's basically that for, Tyler Beddoe also had 15 points for the Bruins. But again, it was to no avail, and UCLA is out. So unfortunately for those gutty little Bruins, they're out. And again, I really wish I would know more about the Mick Cronin situation. If he's back with UCLA next year, awesome. Some people want him back, some people don't want him back. But it is what it is, honestly. So, yeah, all of the SoCal teams from the NCAA tournament are gonzo, but doesn't mean they've all stopped playing. There is one team in postseason action, and that's actually UC Irvine as they advance to the NIT semifinals, which is being held in Indy. Shout out to Indy Sports Nation. So it's really cool that UC Irvine is proving the selection committee that they deserve to be in the big dance, and it's shown quite a bit as well. Yes, they haven't beaten the flashiest opponents, but they've beaten some good opponents. They took down Northern Colorado, which almost had the same number of wins as they did Jacksonville State. In the recent quarterfinals, they took down UAB, which they kind of had to rally back and win that one. So UC Irvine has done an outstanding job in terms of winning at home this season. The Bren was pretty much their safe haven. And they also tied a program record in terms of number of wins won in 31, which I think is pretty darn cool if you ask me. So next up for UC Irvine, they are actually back in action this Sunday, or is it Tuesday? Either way, they're back on April 1st. Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday, they're back in action when they take on the Mean Green of North Texas, which I think it's going to be a fun little matchup. As Brian Francione pops into the chat room, he says, "Good afternoon, Teran." Good afternoon to you too, Brian. Thank you for popping in. It is much appreciated. But UC Irvine, yeah. Again, my thing is for UC Irvine, I hope UC Irvine wins the NIT. I get it. It's 65th place, or I'm sorry, not even 65th place. It's like 69th place in terms of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. But honestly, winning the NIT would prove the entire committee wrong, that it was wrong for them to leave UC Irvine not only out of the big dance, but out of the first four out conversation. Like, UC Irvine didn't even get to be the first four out or the next four out, which I think is pretty sad. So UC Irvine needed to beat UC San Diego, which eventually lost to Michigan, in order to make the tournament. It really sucks because I think UC Irvine could have definitely maybe challenged some opponents. Even Ron Havenstein even said that if there's a double-digit seed that you do not want to be facing in the NCAA tournament, it's UC Irvine. And I'm hoping that UC Irvine wins the whole NIT to give the middle finger to the committee for leaving them out, because I think it's still ridiculous. So UC Irvine is off to the semifinals, and like I said, they'll play North Texas on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time on ESPN, which I think is going to be pretty darn cool if you ask me. So that's pretty much that right there for your UC Irvine update, or for your SoCal men's basketball update. Knock on wood, I hope that UC Irvine wins the whole thing, like I said. So good luck to the Anteaters. Safe travels to Indiana, and make SoCal proud. Next up, we got some college women's basketball. So let's just get this out of the way. UC San Diego, I already mentioned, they fell in the first four match, which I think is a pretty raw deal, making your first ever big dance debut, and you get a first four match where you lose to Southern, but it is what it is. So San Diego State unfortunately wound up losing their first round matchup as well. They lost to LSU and it was quite a significant chunk. So yeah, San Diego State was in for a rough ride against an LSU team. I mean, would we all have liked to have seen Kim Mulkey's team lose? Yes. But unfortunately, it was not happening with San Diego State. San Diego State is good for their conference, but they're not going to be good enough to beat LSU, unfortunately. LSU is just kind of on a whole other level. And it helps when they're battle-tested in the freaking SEC, when they're taking on teams like South Carolina, Texas, Arkansas, Kentucky, the list goes on and on. So, yeah, LSU had San Diego State's number in this one, but it wasn't a lack of effort. It was just LSU was just the better team. So congratulations to San Diego State on making the big dance. More importantly, it was even quite amazing that San Diego State made the big dance by winning the MPSF tournament and knocking off number one seed UNLV in the process. So congratulations to the Lady Aztecs on a fantastic season, and here's hoping this is a sign of things to come. Now for the two juggernauts from SoCal and women's basketball, college women's basketball, UCLA and USC. So UCLA pretty much had their way. They took down Southern in the first round, but in the round of 32, they kind of had a little bit of a tough time against Richmond. Yeah, the Richmond Spiders, go figure. It was actually tied at halftime, and I was thinking, whoa, is UCLA going to lose in the early round? And even Richmond had a lead until a I forget the run. It was like an 11-0 run or 11-3 run in the third quarter was what propelled UCLA to the win over Richmond. And the final score doesn't do it any justice. This game was a lot closer in the first half. It's just that the second half, UCLA just really turned on the gas. So UCLA advances to the round of 16 or the Sweet 16 as they take on Ole Miss, which I think should be a little bit of a tricky matchup. If UCLA thinks they're going to be walking into this game with looking for a free win, it's not happening. Because UCLA, they're a good team and all, but if they take away Lauren Betts and the other shooters just don't produce, that could be troublesome for the Bruins. So here's hoping UCLA plays a little bit more of a cleaner match. And if they get past Ole Miss, then they would most likely draw either NC State or LSU. I would like for them to get LSU because that's the team that ended their season last year. So here's hoping for UCLA's sake, they're able to take down any team that gets in their way. Now, as for USC, all right, time to rip the Band-Aid off of this one. Okay, USC pretty much blew by their first matchup against UNC Greensville. This was no surprise. They wound up winning, I think, 71-25, which I think is the least amount of points given up, and I think it's the most amount won in that margin of the first round. Actually, no, that's not true. At least in their program's history. I know it's not in the entire NCAA women's basketball history because UConn beating St. Francis a lot to a little has that record. I think that was back when they had Breonna Stewart, but that's off topic. All right, so that was the first round matchup. The second round matchup, it kind of was not fun. Don't get me wrong. USC wound up crushing Mississippi State, but it was the first 5 or 6 minutes of the first quarter. USC was up 13-2. And then USC got a steal because they're USC, and then they managed to run on a fast break. And unfortunately, the worst thing that could happen did happen for USC. Juju Smith-Schuster went down awkwardly. It looked like the Mississippi State player bumped her from behind and tweaked, and she kind of landed awkwardly. But I think it was just a matter of the Mississippi State player nudging her, and then she just landed awkwardly. It might have been on that bad ankle of hers that she suffered in the win against UNC Greensboro. But yeah, it's an ACL tear. Juju Smith-Schuster's out for the remainder of the NCAA tournament. I'm tired of seeing USC suffer. I really am. I really am tired of seeing USC suffer. It really hurts. Thankfully for USC, they had someone by the name of Kiki Iriafin. I think that's how Iriafin. Either way, Kiki Iriafin was able to step up. She poured 36 points following Juju's injury, and then other players stepped up when it came to USC as well, as the Trojans blew by Mississippi State. And honestly, I don't care what anyone says. I mean, look, the fans, I don't think they have the right to boo the Mississippi State players. I mean, honestly, I get it. When at first glance they saw that there was contact but I don't think it was intentional to injure the Juju. I don't think Mississippi State intentionally meant to injure Juju Smith-Schuster. So, to USC fans, please stop bullying old Mississippi State. And it really sucks what happened. It's just one of those unfortunate injuries at the wrong place at the wrong time thing. It's not the fault of the Mississippi State player that wound up bumping into her. But yeah, the USC fans were just loud, and the USC team just fed off of that energy, and eventually they just blew by Mississippi State. But as I said on X, formerly known as Twitter, this feels more like a loss than a win. Yeah, USC wound up crushing old Mississippi State in the game, but losing Juju Smith-Schuster might have just killed this team's chances of making or winning the national championship. Because, as I've said before, USC goes as far as Juju goes. And if she's not playing, then USC is not the same team. I mean, they're going to have other players step up, like Kiki Iriafin. But I just think that USC, and they'll probably get past their next matchup, which is against Kansas State. But honestly, that might be where the buck stops when it comes to the Trojans, just because USC needs Juju Smith-Schuster in the worst way. or Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Watkins. They need Juju Watkins so badly, it's not even funny. They need Juju Watkins ASAP, and it really sucks that she got hurt. USC wound up beating Mississippi State, Mississippi State, 96-59. But honestly, the loss of Juju Watkins just really hurts. But again, Kiki Iriafin, she had a big game, 36 points. So other Trojans that are going to need to step up that stepped up was Rhea Marshall. She had 12 points, and she also had 9 boards. Kenny Smith had 10 points. Avery Howell had 18 points off the bench. And Kaylee Hickle had 13 points off the bench as well. So those players that I just mentioned, they're all going to need to step up for USC, because if they don't, they could be out of the Sweet 16, because they play a Kansas State team which just barely beat Kentucky in the round of 32, which, I mean, that's still technically an upset because they actually wound up winning in Kentucky, in Lexington. So USC won't have the luxury of playing at Galen Center anymore. They're actually going to go to Spokane for their next matchup. So I'm hoping for USC's sake they could at least get past K-State, because if they can't look at the Elite Eight matchup without getting past the Sweet 16. They got to get past K-State in order to look forward to what's going to be happening between UConn and I think it's Notre Dame. No, it's UConn, Oklahoma. So UConn, Oklahoma, before they can look at UConn or Oklahoma, they got to get past K-State, Kansas State, which should be a fun little matchup. I mean, again, those players that I just mentioned, they got to all step up. But here's hoping for a speedy recovery for Juju Watkins. It really sucks that she got hurt at that moment, because she has been the heartbeat of this USC team. And what's worse is some are speculating that this injury for Juju could actually lead into next season, where she might even miss some time, where USC has to play teams like UConn, South Carolina, I think NC State. I'm not entirely certain. Maybe it was Utah. But regardless, if she's out before those matches during the next season, that can get a little dicey for USC. But it is what it is, and they're going to be losing quite a bit to graduation regardless. So here's hoping that USC does find the way to win. And Juju only had 3 points with no field goals, 1 board, and 2 assists. So, man, this really sucks that she got hurt. It really, and she only played like 5-ish minutes in that game. So it was, like I said, it was around the 5-minute mark of the first quarter, and it really sucks that USC had to have this happen at this point of the season. So hopefully for Juju's sake, she will be able to bounce back from this and come back from this stronger than ever. I'm sure she will, and it just goes to show how valuable Juju is to USC. So that is that right there for some college women's basketball. So now let's jump on over to some NBA action. So now I'll talk a little bit of Lakers action just because they're kind of the focal point when it comes to the NBA. So, all right. So some of their games, last time I talked about them, they had lost to the Bucks. That was kind of a lost cause because they were resting pretty much practically everybody. But on Saturday, they got thumped by the Chicago Bulls at home, 146-115. Good Lord. I mean, I know the Bulls are playing better ball, but man, that's brutal. They also lost to the Orlando Magic this past Monday, 118-106, which, okay, well, the Magic are still they're still doing decently. It's just that, honestly, losing that bad to start off your road trip is not a good sign. But they did beat the Pacers 120-119, so the Lakers were actually up by double digits plus, and then Indy made a little bit of a quick comeback. They even took the lead at one point, courtesy of Tyrese Halliburton. And then final waning seconds, Lakers were down 1. Luka Doncic tries to go for a jump shot. It misses, but then LeBron James was at the right place at the right time, and he managed to score the game-winning basket for the Lakers via a tip-in, which I thought was awesome sauce. And that's actually his first ever game-winning basket for the Lakers. So finally, the Lakers got to see a game winner from LeBron James. So that's good news for the Lakers. The bad news is yesterday could not have gone any worse for them. So Lakers were up double digits. I think they were up by like 17-ish or somewhere in that ballpark. And then let's skip over to the final part of the game. So Lakers are up 5 with about, let's say, 30-ish, maybe less than 30 seconds to go. Okay, maybe even less than that. So no shot clock for the Bulls. And let's say there's about 15 seconds left. The Bulls get a 3, so it's good. And then the Bulls, okay, so the Lakers are only up 2, so they got to get inbound the ball. The Bulls steal the inbounds pass, and then they kick it out to someone who's wide open for another 3, and then he makes it. So suddenly, after being up 5, Lakers are only up 2, and then only up 2. Lakers are now down 1. Fortunately for the Lakers, they were able to call timeout, advance the ball up the floor, and they spotted an open Austin Reeves who just drove to the basket, and with about 4 seconds left, and it was looking good. It looked like the Lakers had finally, if they were going to escape Chicago with the win. But then the worst thing that could happen did happen for the Lakers. Josh Giddey, I think that's his name. Last name is Giddey, I know, but I think his first name is Josh Giddey. He manages to sink a 45-foot three-pointer to give the Bulls the win, a.k.a. from half court. Yeah, Josh Giddey sank that ball, a 3-ball that long, to give his team the win. I'm not kidding you. The Lakers lost in that fashion on a half-court heave. Why? Why did the Lakers have to turn the ball over on that inbound? Why did it even get to that point? They wasted a great game from Austin Reeves, who had 30 points, and he shot over 50% from the field, only to lose on the road when they had a big lead and led by 5 with about 15-ish seconds left to the freaking Bulls. I get it. The Bulls are a solid team. They're playing decent basketball. But honestly, that's ridiculous of how you lose in that fashion. You do not lose in that fashion. I can't believe the Lakers. Like, they went from winning in amazing fashion, winning at the buzzer, to losing in terrible fashion at the buzzer. I just can't believe it, man. Like, Lakers can't be doing this. Like, this is the type of game that deflates a team during the late season stretch. And I think the Lakers have like 8 or 9 games remaining. And they got an even bigger game tomorrow when they play at the Memphis Grizzlies, which has kind of been going through quite a bit, but I digress. So Lakers, they've lost 4 of their last 5, which is now concerning. And believe it or not, they're only 2.5 ahead of Golden State and the Clippers. So I'm hoping for the Lakers' sake they're able to turn it around, because that's ridiculous how they're able to lose in that fashion. It should never get to that point where they're losing to teams like that. No, absolutely not. Just terrible, 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 dude. Anyway, looking at the Lakers' remaining schedule, it's quite a bit tough if you ask me. They've got Memphis on Saturday. They've got Houston on national TV on Monday. And then Thursday, they've got Golden State at home. Thankfully, this Memphis matchup is the last road game they've got. And then they return home against Houston. They stay at home against Golden State. They've got the Pelicans the day after they take on Golden State. And then they've got 2 straight against Oklahoma City on April 6th and April 8th. Then on Wednesday, April 9th, the Lakers travel to D-Town to take on the Dallas Mavericks. And then Friday, April 11th, the Lakers have their final home game of the season against Houston. And then Sunday, April 13th, the Lakers play the Portland Trail Blazers, which they'll probably win that one. So looking at the Lakers schedule, they do not have a lot of gimme games left. They've got 2 gimme games at best. The Dallas one, I think, can be a little bit more tricky since they're starting to get more bodies back. And that will be big for Dallas because they want to avoid playing in the play-in game. But it's also going to be Luka Doncic's first game ever since he was traded, which I think is going to be pretty epic, which is why the Lakers and the Mavs are on ESPN. So, yeah, and looking at the Lakers' schedule, they've got 1, 2, 3 games on national TV and then 2 games on NBA TV. But, yeah, I would go as far as to say the Lakers have the toughest stretch remaining in the NBA. And they've already suffered a few slings and arrows to teams like the Bulls and the Magic. So the Lakers have really got to cross their T's and dot their I's. I mean, it was great that they were able to take down Indiana, but LeBron James struggled in that game. It was to the point where he only had, I think, 2 points going into the fourth quarter, if not 4 points going into the fourth quarter, which cannot happen. I get he's still a little rusty after coming back from that calf sprain or that groin injury, but honestly, this seriously can't happen to the Lakers. They got to have other players stepping up. So we'll see what happens when it comes to the Lakers going forward, but I'm starting to become a little bit more concerned with the purple and gold. So here's hoping the Lakers can turn around. Here's hoping they can end their road trip on a high note by beating those Grizz. So we'll see. Now for the Clippers. The Clippers have been playing some decent basketball, and it's gotten to the point where they're still ahead of the Golden State Warriors for the 6th spot in the Western Conference, which I think is pretty darn good. So the Clippers' most recent games were as follows. They took down the Knicks, I think it was yesterday, 126-113. That was the most recent game. Okay, well, without Jalen Brunson, the Knicks aren't anything without him. Unfortunately for the Clippers, they wound up losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder at home at Intuit Dome, 103-101. Okay, that's not terrible. That loss actually snaps a 6-game winning streak that the Clippers had, but they also took down teams such as the Memphis Grizzlies, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I thought was going to be a big test for them. Like that 3-game gauntlet, Grizzlies, Cavaliers, Grizzlies, and Thunder, that's a pretty good result coming out 2-1 in that series and almost going 3-0. So the Clippers are actually gaining a lot of ground, and the thing about the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors, for that matter, is they're gaining on the Lakers. And if the Lakers want to have that tiebreaker over the Denver Nuggets, if it boils down to those two teams finishing tied, then the Lakers would have the tiebreaker via the division. Because if you win your division and you're tied with the team for a spot in the playoffs, it goes by division winner. Unfortunately, that's not the case for the Lakers, as the Lakers are still a game and a half behind Denver, which really sucks. I don't know if they'll get that 2 seed, but those 2 games against Houston could come in big. But I'm just concerned for the Lakers, as they may have to go on the road to play their first round match. Heck, they're not even safe from the play-in, as they're only 2.5 games ahead of that play-in zone, and no one other than Oklahoma City, no one from the Western Conference has clinched a spot. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, again, they're playing some darn good basketball, and they could eventually avoid the play-in. They just got to make sure that the Timberwolves don't get hot, and the Clippers just can't veer away from playing some of their best basketball, because Kawhi Leonard is playing great for the Clippers. And when Kawhi Leonard is playing and he's not hurt, the Clippers are a force to be reckoned with, offensively and defensively. As looking at the Clippers' last few games, they have their next game is against the Brooklyn Nets tonight in Brooklyn. All right, that could be the Clippers should handle that one. Sunday will be a little bit tougher, as the Clippers play at the Land against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They also got the Orlando Magic following that, so nice little back-to-back matchup in 3 games in 4 nights. That's tough. And then the Clippers return home to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. And then next Friday and Saturday, the Clippers host the Dallas Mavericks. Then Tuesday, April 8th, the Clippers host the Spurs. And then Wednesday, April 9th, the Clippers host the Houston Rockets. So they've got the Texas quadrant. Normally it would be the Texas triangle, but since they've got the Mavericks twice, the San Antonio Spurs after that, and then the Houston Rockets after that, the Clippers have the Texas quadrant. And then the Clippers close off the regular season at Sacramento and at Golden State on Friday, April 11th and Sunday, April 13th. So I'd say this is kind of manageable. I mean, the Golden State one's going to be tough. The Kings one might be a little tough. I mean, the Kings are kind of fighting for playing life right there and then. San Antonio, they should handle. Brooklyn, they should handle. So just like the Lakers, no. The Clippers have 3 gimme games. They've got the Nets they should beat. They've got the Pelicans they should beat. And then they've got the Spurs they should beat. Without Wemby, Spurs won't be able to survive unless Chris Paul has his little revenge game. But I digress. So, yeah, I think the Clippers can definitely manage to maybe even move up to 5. If we get Lakers-Clippers in the opening round, that could be feeding a lot of families. That'll be really fun if we get Lakers-Clippers in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So we'll see what happens between the Lakers and Clippers. But that's going to do it for the NBA and college basketball portion of the show. We're going to take ourselves a quick little break. When we come back, got a lot more to discuss. We got some NHL, MLS, a little NWSL, and a little NFL news, and so much more. Keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Calise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate, diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports. And I will update you on all that's black and gold, have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Calise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
Back with segment number 2 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out our amazing shows such as Sin City with Cale Henderson and the Injury Report with Ralph Calise. Speaking of Ralph, he says, "Good afternoon, Teran, man. Good afternoon, Teran. Man, you're the best. LOL. That was a crazy finish last night." Yeah, I think he's referring to the Lakers and Bulls. And yeah, that was a crazy finish, unfortunately. And then he says, "Hope you have a great show. Thumbs up hit by myself." Thank you, Ralph. Hit that thumbs button. I definitely would appreciate it if you all did. It would definitely mean the world. And subscribe to IE Sports Radio. So, all right, let's get back into the SoCal sports action. So we're actually going to go to the football field and talk some MLS. So, all right, so unfortunately for the Galaxy, they still have yet to win a match in terms of the MLS. God, talk about the MLS Cup hangover. Like, this might be the nastiest case because they have yet to win a match in MLS play. So the Galaxy actually tied with Minnesota United FC this past weekend, tying 2-2. So Minnesota got on the board first, courtesy of Kelvin Yeboah. So suddenly Minnesota's up 1-0. But then Christian Ramirez was able to score 8 minutes after that for the Galaxy. So suddenly it's now 1-1, which was the eventual halftime score. In the 87th minute, however, Minnesota United got a penalty kick awarded to them. And you guessed it, Kelvin Yeboah was able to put that one away. So suddenly it's 2-1, and the Galaxy are in danger of losing this game. But 3 minutes after that penalty kick, the Galaxy was able to get a much-needed goal from Carlos Garces, as thankfully for Garces, he was able to knock in the goal to help the Galaxy salvage at least 1 point. So that's good for the Galaxy. It would have been better had they gotten 3 points, but we can't complain too much. Galaxy fans can't complain too much. Even though they did outpossession Minnesota 56.8% to 43.2%. Shots on goal were in favor of Minnesota. They had 8 shots on goal to the Galaxy's 4. And they had 18 shot attempts to the Galaxy's 12. And the Galaxy only had 1 corner kick, which really sucks. And the Minnesota had 7 of them. So, yeah, okay, 1 point is better than no points, but that's got to suck if you're the Galaxy. They still have yet to win in MLS play, but at least they still have the CONCACAF tournament, which I don't know how I really feel about that, but it is what it is, and soon we'll be getting that fairly soon. At least the Galaxy isn't in last place, as that honor actually belongs to Sporting KC, which recently just lost to LAFC, which actually is perfect segue to go into LAFC. So just like the Galaxy, they were playing last Saturday, and LAFC wound up taking on Sporting KC at Sporting KC, and to the good fortune of LAFC, they wound up taking down Sporting KC 2-0, which I thought was pretty good. So the scoring got started in the 18th minute, where LAFC's David Martinez scored. So suddenly it was 1-0, which eventually became the halftime score. And LAFC managed to get a nice little insurance goal 9 minutes into the second half, as Aaron Long managed to boot in a goal for LAFC, and eventually LAFC wound up winning 2-0. Believe it or not, LAFC actually did not win the possession battle. That was actually Sporting KC, who just barely won the possession battle by less than they wound up winning the possession battle by a little more than 2%. LAFC had 4 shots on goal to Sporting KC's 3. Shot attempts were 11-8 in favor of Sporting KC. LAFC only had 1 corner kick, while Sporting KC had 11, which, man, if you're Sporting KC, I think you better ask for some black magic from the Kansas City Chiefs, because how do you get 11 corner kicks and that kind of explains the 11 shot attempts as well and the 3 shots on goal, but still, how do you get 11 corner kicks with 11 shot attempts and you can't put away a goal? That's brutal if you ask me, but LAFC is good for a reason. At least LAFC knows how to win. Unfortunately, the Galaxy can't seem to do that. I forgot to mention, the Galaxy are in action when they play Orlando this weekend. Meanwhile, for LAFC, they are back in action against San Diego, which actually is perfect segue to go into San Diego FC. So San Diego FC, unfortunately, didn't have the luck like LAFC, or the fortunate luck that the Galaxy had, as San Diego FC wound up losing to Austin 2-1. Now, that is on account that Austin's goalie was ridiculous, but so was San Diego's. Like, both goalies were ridiculous for their respective clubs. So I'm going to give Austin's goalie his flowers. Like, he made some crazy saves, which could have easily gotten through, but San Diego just saw that goalie make the save, and all you just got to do is tip your hat to them and say, hey, that's a great goalie they've got, and there's a reason why they're one of the best in the West. But it also didn't help that San Diego got off to a little bit of a slow start. Austin saw Brandon Vasquez score in the 10th minute, and then 9 minutes after that, Austin's John Gallagher scores. So suddenly, Austin's up 2-0, while San Diego is still wondering, wait, what's going on here? I mean, San Diego can't always play draws to these teams. But thankfully, 8 minutes after Austin's second goal of the game, I'm going to probably Luca De La Torre. Luca De La Torre scored the first goal for San Diego FC. And suddenly San Diego was only down 2-1 as opposed to being down 2-0. But San Diego just could not get that second goal. Oh, man. Like I said, Austin's goalie was ridiculous. And the crazy part is that San Diego dominated possession. They had 76.3% possession compared to Austin FC's 23.7%. And San Diego still wound up losing. That's got to be such a bummer. But again, Austin's goalie deserves so much credit for the game that he had. He only had 3 saves, but they were clutch saves. So San Diego had 4 shots on goal. Austin had 5. San Diego had 17 shot attempts, while Austin had 11. San Diego had 10 corner kicks to Austin's 4, and both goalies had 3 saves. And San Diego's goalie, I got to give him props as well. It could have been a whole lot worse for San Diego had San Diego, not had their goalie make some clutch saves. But unfortunately, it was just not meant to be, as San Diego takes the loss on that one. So San Diego will host LAFC for the first time this weekend. I think it's going to be a very fun matchup. And San Diego and LAFC are not too far from one another in terms of the MLS standings, as San Diego is right below LAFC for 4th. Meanwhile, Austin actually jumped to 2nd in the MLS standings, which I think is pretty darn good if you ask me. But yeah, San Diego, they're going to need to look to get up off the mat against LAFC, just because that loss does sting. But a loss is only tough if it's dwelled on. And it is only the first ever loss for San Diego FC. I mean, their first 4 matches, they were either winning or tying. But they got to get up off the mat, brush themselves off, and just start a new streak. And then for LAFC, they're on a little bit of a win streak on their own as well, as they'll look to try to. Well, I think they've only won 1 match. I think they've only won 1 match, and that was against Sporting KC. I think the previous match they lost to Austin, which now I remember. So, all right, but that is going to do it for the MLS portion of the show. I'm really looking forward to LAFC and San Diego FC facing one another. I really wish this could have been on a channel not named the MLS channel. I wish it could have been on It could have been on like ESPNU or but then again, March Madness is a thing. I forgot. Oh, well. Soon, though. But that's going to be a very fun matchup. So that's going to do it for the MLS portion of the show. Jumping over to the NHL. All right. So we've got the NHL still in action. Less than 2 games to go. The Kings are back in 2nd place, as they are only 5 points behind Vegas, but they're only 2 games ahead of Edmonton. I hope to God, I'm still hoping to God that the Kings don't have to play Edmonton in the first round, because they've had rotten luck against the Oilers in the NHL playoffs, the most recent season. So the Kings' win streak actually came to a screeching halt, as the Kings fell on the road to the Colorado Avalanche 4-0. It was ugly. Let's just leave it at that. Like most of their other games, they had just dominated. I mean, 3 of those wins were at home, though. They took down the Rangers 3-1, the Bruins 7-2, and they took down the Carolina Hurricanes 7-2. So quite an explosion of offense for the Kings, but unfortunately they just laid a goose egg against Colorado. And the loss to Colorado actually snaps LA's 4-game win streak. So the Kings are back in action tomorrow when they host the Toronto Maple Leafs. So hopefully for the Kings' sake, they're able to get back into the win column. I mean, the Kings are definitely a very good home team. Let's keep it at that. You know who else is a solid home team? The Ducks. Believe it or not, they're actually, I think they're 10-5-1, if not 10-4-1 in their last 15 games at home, which I think is pretty good. Their most recent game, they actually wound up beating the Boston Bruins 6-2. They took down the Boston Bruins 6-2. Unfortunately, their game before that, they took on Carolina, and they wound up losing 5-2, which that's actually sad, because that was actually the game where Jim Harbaugh actually gave him a little bit of a pregame pep talk. So them's the breaks, unfortunately, for the Ducks. The previous game, they took down the Nashville Predators on the road 4-1, as the Ducks are back in action tonight when they host the New York Rangers. Let's hope that the Ducks can take a bite out of the Big Apple when they host them at the Honda Center. But as for the Ducks overall in the standings, the Ducks are 10 games behind Vancouver for the final spot in the Pacific Division. And time is running out for the Ducks. They really got to start winning and winning now. Otherwise, they're going to be on the outside looking in again. And also got to watch out for the Seattle Kraken. They're not too far back of the Ducks as well, but that's to get to the Canucks. The Ducks are also 9 points back of Calgary, which is even worse. So Anaheim has a lot of ground to make up in terms of trying to make the postseason. I'm not concerned for the Kings. The Kings should definitely be a lock to making the postseason. It's the Ducks that I'm way more concerned about. So looking at the Ducks' final few games of the season, they've got New York, which they're kind of fighting for playoff supremacy as well. They've got Toronto. I don't know what to expect with Toronto. I think they should win that one. San Jose, which is going to be, they should, if they lose that one, there's no hope for them. And they've got Calgary and Vancouver on the road, which that's going to be a little tough for the Ducks. I mean, I talk about Calgary and Vancouver in the standings. Those are the teams that are blocking entrance for the Ducks. So if the Ducks want to make the postseason, they're actually going to need to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. I know those teams are tough, but the Ducks have got to prove that if they want to belong in the postseason, they got to beat postseason-like teams. They can't just beat these average teams at best. Then they've got Edmonton, which is another playoff team. Then they've got the Calgary again on April 9th. So they've got Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary from April 3rd all the way to April 9th. And then after the April 9th match against Calgary, they play the Kings, which is another team that's going to be bound for the playoffs. And they've got the Colorado Rapids, which are most likely going to be in the playoffs. I mean, they're second in their division behind Washington. And they've got Minnesota, which they should probably beat, most likely. And then they've got Winnipeg, which I don't know what to expect with Winnipeg. But, yeah, that's a little bit of a daunting schedule after they take on San Jose. Like, they've got Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and the Kings. And Colorado, too. So that's 6 straight games when facing an opponent. The Ducks are going to really need to buckle down if they want to make the postseason. If they make the postseason, then it's probably because the Ducks got hot as of late and everyone else cooled off. But we'll see. I'm not going to even hold my breath for the Ducks making the postseason. All right, that is that for the NHL portion of the show. We're going to quickly recap some NWSL action. All right, so I'm not going to go too much in depth in this, but NWSL actually kicked off last week where San Diego actually tied Angel City 1-1, but they also beat Utah 3-2. So good start to the season for San Diego. Meanwhile, for Angel City, they actually are 0-2-0 to start the season. They actually tied 2 games. The one tie was against San Diego, as we all know. The other tie actually came from the Portland Thorns, which actually is pretty good. I think I always look at the Portland Thorns as a contender team, as one of the OG teams from the NWSL before all these newcomer teams came along, like Seattle and San Diego and Los Angeles and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much your quick little gist of the NWSL. So we're actually going to take one last commercial break. When we come back, we got a little NFL news. We got to recap some MLB in terms of opening day from yesterday. And we got the Dum Dum of the Week. So keep it locked here. You were listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's up, New York? This is Ricky K coming at you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus, you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports takes that never sleep? Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
And we are back with the final segment of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out our amazing shows such as Fast Break with Davidson. Don't know when Dentarius Locke will be back, but hopefully he does get back really soon. I'm praying for him. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just going through some times, and he's also a track and field coach for the University of Pittsburgh, or Pitt as we like to call. Also check out New York State Sports with Ricky K. He does an excellent job. I feel bad for missing Monday's show, but it is what it is. But speaking of New York, we actually need to go over some Chargers news. So the Chargers actually signed a player from the New York Jets, and that player is, can we get a drum roll, please? Tyler Conklin, tight end from the New York Jets. Okay. I mean, this isn't bad. I mean, there are better tight ends available, but Justin Herbert was able to make the most with Will Dissly and Hayden Hurst, so this is decent. I mean, it doesn't do Conklin any justice that he had to play with old Aaron Rodgers, which, yeah, it's tough having to play with that guy. But Tyler Conklin, now the Chargers have two conks on their team. They've got Will McConkey and Tyler Conklin. So it's pretty good. So looking at him, he is age 30. No, he's 29. So he's going to be turning 30 this July. So, okay, so he's kind of up there in age, but I'm hoping he does still have a little bit left in the tank. So, yeah, Tyler Conklin is now a Charger. So does this kind of change the projection where the Chargers will go in terms of their draft? It might. I imagine that the Chargers still want to draft Colston Loveland. I mean, they're not going to get Tyler Warren unless they trade up. Maybe they'll get Ashton Genty. I'm not entirely certain. I can't hold my breath on that one because I imagine Genty is going to be drafted well before the Chargers pick, being pick number 22. So again, we're not going to go over any like mock drafts or whatnot, just because reasons. And we're already an hour into this show. But yeah, in addition to the Chargers signing Tyler Conklin, the Chargers also re-signed Tony Jefferson to a 1-year deal. So, okay. I mean, Jefferson actually was pretty decent for the Chargers in that one playoff game against the Texans, even though the Chargers wound up getting crushed. But he was also a pretty good ball hawk for the Chargers. And this is old Tony Jefferson, who was a NFL, I think he was like an NFL defensive analytic for a high school team. I'm not entirely certain. But honestly, that's pretty solid. I mean, the Chargers need all the help they can get in terms of defense, but we shall see. And that's pretty much that for all of the Chargers' most recent signings. I know they just released a mock draft most recently, but honestly, I don't know how to feel about Tyler Conklin. I think this can pan out being something good. I mean, again, Justin Herbert had Hayden Hurst as well as Stone Smart and Will Dissly as tight ends last year. Imagine if the Chargers got a legit tight end threat. This team could maybe, hence the word maybe, be one of the better offenses out there. But I'm still waiting for the Chargers to sign Keenan Allen back. Bring Keenan Allen home. And yes, I get it. Keenan Allen wants the money, but the Chargers should have a good amount of cap space left to bring him back. And I think it would be great because Keenan Allen either wants to stay in Chicago, he wants to go back to the Chargers, or heaven forbid, he wants to go to the Rams, which have not done anything ever since we talked about them last week. But for the Rams, yeah, the only news that they've had as of late is that Rampage, their mascot, was actually named. Can we get a drum roll? Okay, I'll stop. So, Rampage, the Rams mascot, was actually named the NFL's most impactful mascot within their community. I mean, that's good. I mean, it's something. At least one LA team has a mascot. I'm kidding. But I digress on that. But congratulations to Rampage on becoming the NFL's most impactful mascot within their community. I think that's pretty good. I mean, it's not the biggest news, but honestly, it's news for the Rams. I got to think of something. And this just popped up right before I went on. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So congratulations to Rampage for being the most impactful mascot within their community in the NFL. So salute to you, Rampage. Keep up the good work. And hopefully I will meet you one day. All right, but that is going to do it for the NFL portion of the show. Quick little NFL portion. The NFL draft is actually 27 days away. So 4 weeks from yesterday, it's going to be NFL draft time. And that's when we'll really get into the X's and O's when it comes to who the Chargers and Rams should draft. I still think Rams should go O-line and then the Chargers should go tight end if Colston Loveland is available. If not, then maybe they should go Matthew Golden and whatnot. But we'll see. All right, that is that for the NFL portion of the show, or Rams and Chargers portion. All right, so MLB. So MLB had its official opening day yesterday. Got to remember the Dodgers did kick off the season earlier than the Padres and the Angels. So yesterday, the Angels had maybe the worst opening day ever. They lost to the Chicago White Sox 8-1. 8-1 lost to the White Sox. 8-1. Man, this is going to be one long year for the Angels. If they're losing to the worst team from last year, I don't even want to know what's going to happen with the Angels going forward. I mean, they are just whittling away at Mike Trout's career. It's not even funny anymore. It's legit starting to become more sad by the day. So, God, Angels, you freaking lose to the White Sox. You're lucky I don't give you Dum Dum of the Week for that. So that's that right there. And the Angels will continue their series against the White Sox this weekend. I hope they can at least win, at least salvage a split or win the series, please. Thank you. And then yesterday, the San Diego Padres took on the Atlanta Braves and wound up winning 7-4, which they actually needed to win late in, I think it was like either the 8th or 9th inning. It was 4-3 at one point, and then the Padres tied it up, and then eventually the Padres wound up winning it, as they wound up winning it in big-time fashion. That was a nice win for the San Diego Padres. I think that's a big feather in their cap. And I think people tend to forget the Padres still have a pretty decent roster, if you ask me. I know it's not as flashy as the Dodgers, but I think that maybe San Diego can turn some heads quite a bit just because they still have some studs on their team. And I think they can definitely make it work with their roster. I think they definitely have what it takes. It'll be tough because they've got to contend with the entirety of the National League. And in addition to that, they've also got the Diamondbacks, which are pretty good in their division. And let's also not forget that the Giants might actually be pretty solid as well. So San Diego wound up winning the game with 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning, which I thought was pretty good. So it was a grand slam. No, it was the game tying run came from Sheets on a solo home run, and then eventually San Diego got some sac flies, and then Manny Machado doubled to bring home Fernando Tatis Jr. And then Merrill had a sac fly to right field, which eventually scored Xander Bogaerts, which I forgot that Xander Bogaerts was even on the Padres. But yeah, I'm going to try to follow the Padres a little more just because I think the Padres have a lot of promise in them. It's going to be tough because the National League is starting to get bigger and better, but we'll see. So that is that for the Padres. So jumping on over to the Dodgers. All right, Dodgers actually had the honor of playing their first game in America on national TV as they took on the Detroit Tigers. And this one was kind of tricky. So Dodgers at one point were down. Well, they got the first run of the game, so it was 1-0. The Tigers got 2 runs eventually, and then they led 2-1. The Dodgers eventually tied that up, and eventually they took the lead quite nicely. They led it 5-3 at one point. And then the Tigers eventually got. I didn't know the Tigers were this bad in terms of runners in scoring position. They were 0 for 13. Thankfully for them, they were able to get a couple of sac flies to bring their deficit down a little closer. So eventually they were down 5-2 at one point. It was down to 5-3, and then eventually down to 5-4. And then it was the bottom of the 9th inning, and they actually made a little bit of a push. I think they got the one man on second and then one man on first. And eventually I was starting to fear. And then the count was 3-0 to, I forget the guy's last name, but it was Keith something. I think it was like Keith Oates or something. But he was 0 for 4 on the day, made it 0 for 5 as he flew out to he fouled out into right field, and eventually that's how the Dodgers won. The Dodgers wound up winning 5-4, but it was in such ugly fashion. I'll give a lot of credit to Detroit. They have such a gritty team. And Christian, the host of Gritsville, USA, even talked about. He was even providing some live reactions when it came to that game. He was saying that if the Tigers remain healthy, if they continue to stay consistent and so on and so forth, the Tigers can actually win the AL Central and have a nice little push in the playoffs. But it's a long season. As most people will say, the MLB season is a marathon, not a sprint. So for the Dodgers, they're 3-0 for the first time since 2016, which is great. However, it's still a long season to go. Before we all start claiming that the Dodgers can be 162-0, there's still a lot of season left. And a lot of people aren't even giving the Dodgers a chance to repeat as champions. I mean, some are, some aren't. But I will say it's a long season, so let's put away the champagne. But it was great to see Dodgers fans all in full force, as I got to see them on Channel 4 News with Mario Solis. And they were all happy and whatnot. That's what we like to see. We want to see happy, energetic fans and not these fans that are willing to beat up people, which I think is really sad. So let's continue to be positive, Dodgers fans, you two Padres fans, and for the you Angels fans, try to look at this as hopefully something good, because I hope for their sake it can't get any worse. All right, but that is that for the MLB portion of the show. Yeah, it felt good to see opening day. And It also felt good to see the Dodgers pull out a nice win over a pretty solid Detroit team. But again, long way to go before we start celebrating another Dodgers World Series and whatnot. All right, but that's that for the MLB. So now let's go over the Dum Dum of the Week. So I've got quite a bit of Dum Dums of the Week. So the Dum Dum of the Week goes out to someone or something that does or says something stupid. No one is safe from this award, and I'm willing to hold no bars back in terms of who gets this award. So I actually have a couple Dum Dums of the Week that I like to give out. So the first one I actually missed from last week. So it was 2 weeks ago. As you all can see, I'm back in my own house, so I'm no longer in Texas. So I do kind of miss my brother, but this was 2 weeks ago, where it was last Monday. So 2 weeks. So not last Monday, and not last week Monday, but the previous Monday. So that Monday, I actually. No, I think it was not the last Monday, but the previous Monday. So the previous Monday, my brother and I went to the gym, and we were supposed to check in. We both work out at Planet Fitness, and yeah, it wasn't the people that treated us bad. It was something that I think should not be playing in terms of music. So I one time went on 3 and Out College Edition saying that a team one time played "Touch My Body" by Mariah Carey, which I think was pretty unacceptable. But in the gym, normally you want to hear music that gets you going and that gets you motivated to work out. Well, one of the songs that played on the Planet Fitness playlist was "We Belong Together" by Mariah Carey. I'm not kidding you. That I don't know whose playlist was playing on the Planet Fitness playlist, but who wants to work out to "We Belong Together" by Mariah Carey? That's not something you want to work out to. You want to work out to other music. I get it, you don't want to be too explicit, but "We Belong Together" is not a workout song. Just please, to the Planet Fitness in Hearst, edit your playlist. No one wants to hear that sort of thing. Like, I'm sorry. There are some Mariah Carey songs that should be played on a playlist in terms of working out, but "We Belong Together" is not one of them. So to Planet Fitness at Hearst, y'all are dum-dums. Whoever has that on their playlist is dum-dum of the week. I'm not trying to say that everyone that goes to Planet Fitness is dum-dum of the week, but seriously, you can't just have "We Belong Together" on a playlist in a gym. Like, it's just my opinion. Maybe I'll prove me wrong, but "We Belong Together" is not something you play at a gymnasium, in a gym, whether it's Planet Fitness, 24-Hour Fitness, or anything of that sort. So please edit your playlist, Hearst Planet Fitness, for all that is holy. All right, now for the second Dum-Dum of the Week. So remember when I was telling y'all about the Memphis Grizzlies and how they have a lot going on? Well, the Lakers play them this Saturday, but they actually made news for maybe not the worst reason possible. So I don't know what the Grizzlies were thinking when doing this, but the Memphis Grizzlies, keep in mind, the Memphis Grizzlies are fifth in the Western Conference. They're fifth, right behind the Lakers. They're actually tied with the Lakers for fifth place in the West. But the Memphis Grizzlies did maybe the most dumbest thing ever. The Memphis Grizzlies fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, even though the Memphis Grizzlies are 44-29. Seriously, I'm not kidding you. Grizzlies, you got to be some kind of stupid to do that sort of thing. You're stupid. Taylor Jenkins did nothing wrong. He guided the Grizzlies to a 44-29 season this year, and you are firing him toward the end of the year? There's like less than a month away, and you're firing a head coach? Do you know what that does to player morale? Do you know what that does to having to buy out his contract? It just makes zero sense. Like, why are the Grizzlies doing this? He did nothing wrong. I don't believe the Grizzlies did this. The Grizzlies are, this might even go down as dumb of the year, because this level of idiocracy just I just can't stand. It's like, I hate when teams do this. It was one thing with the Kings doing this to Mike Woodson, because the Kings were off to such a shoddy start to the season. But to the Grizzlies, you're one of the better teams in the West. You might even be a dark horse to winning the Western Conference or making it out of the West. I just can't believe you would fire your head coach toward the end of the season after he's given your team a lot of success. So whoever is the owner, or whoever made that decision when it came to the Memphis Grizzlies firing Taylor Jenkins, you are dumb of the week, and you might even be nominated for dumb of the year. Now watch as the Grizzlies just get stomped all over by the Lakers, because maybe the interim coach, but it also could be vice versa, because maybe the Grizzlies can have the power of the interim coach, and the interim coach luck and interim coach fire can sometimes prove to be a good thing. But man, Memphis Grizzlies, you can't just fire a successful head coach who's led your team to success. I mean, if the Grizzlies were nowhere near playoff contention and Taylor Jenkins lost the locker room, I could see the Grizzlies doing that. But man, Memphis Grizzlies, you're stupid as heck. Get out of here, Memphis. No wonder people don't take you seriously. And I hope that the Lakers, if they draw the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs in the first round, I hope the Lakers just demolish the Grizzlies like they did with Dylan Brooks and whatnot. I will laugh uproariously to see the Grizzlies just get one and done in the playoffs by the Lakers, or the Clippers for that matter. But either way, Memphis Grizzlies are dumb of the week for firing Taylor Jenkins, who did nothing wrong. Man, these NBA teams and their owners and the front office doing stupid things. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I appreciate you. Shout out to the chat room, Ralph Calise and Brian Francione. I appreciate you. I will be back. This will probably be my most primary time when it comes to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, unless I have to leave to go cover volleyball matches, which I will be at tonight. I'll be at Long Beach State for Long Beach State UC Irvine at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're gonna be there, then come say hi to me. But I'll also be back Monday for Set Point. Yes, I am back in SoCal, baby, and it feels so good. Nothing against my brother. He was great when it came to being a great host in Bedford, Texas. But honestly, it feels so good to be back in SoCal. So for everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have an amazing weekend of SoCal sports action. Enjoy everything. Enjoy the weekend. Be safe out there and be well. And I will see you Monday for Set Point. Have an amazing weekend. And remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace.